Hello folks, and welcome to this week's Music Alerts, where I tell you what I've been getting through the post this week. This time around I've got a selection of CDs and vinyl. Let's start with CDs. Now last week I talked about the new instrumental vinyl LP by the music project, music collective held by trees called Solace. Just to let you know folks that the album can also be yours as a CD, and here it is. This is an expanded version though. This is a 2 CD edition. That's second disc featuring 9 tracks of bonus material, which includes remixes and demos. And because you have 2 CDs, you also have a gatefold sleeve. Great value. Next up, I have 3 CDs on the Pan American label, presented as multi-gatefold digipacks and all under the Rockin Rollin US banner. Each features 28 tracks of pop, rock and roll, rockabilly and the like from the mid to late 50s and early 60s. Specifically, we're talking about music that was launched in Canada. But the music emerged from elsewhere. The series talks about featuring buy-in records, and I'm not really sure what that means, to be honest, because there's no explanation in the liner notes. But I think it's basically music that was made in one place, hawked around, and then, in this case, at least, emerged in Canada. Maybe someone out there can give me a proper definition. I need to know the official definition, folks. So, for example, on Visit 5, and there's 3 CD collections here, they're not called Volume 1, 2, 3, they're called Visit 1, 2, 3, because we're on a musical journey, folks. So, on Visit 5, or Volume 5, for example, we have a guy called Bob Crew, and Bob Crew's Penny, Nickel, Dime, Quarter. Now, Crew came from Newark in New Jersey. He recorded this song for the Spotlight label in Michigan, and then this track was leased for Canadian distribution. Do you see what I mean? That kind of thing. There's a bit of a trail. All of these songs have a similar trail. This is a great value collection. Next up, we have Ted Falcon and an album called, and I'm going to butcher this, so apologies, Torshagando. I hope that's somewhere close. Almost There. Torshagando, almost there. A violinist is our Ted, also mandolin player, and a composer. This is Falcon's 11th album. Here, Falcon teams up with the Sao Paulo Quartet and also a larger ensemble in LA. I think Falcon is actually from LA, but he's steeped in Brazilian culture. He lives there, he's married to a Brazilian lady, and he focuses on choro, is it choro? Choro? I think it might be choro music, and that's an indigenous music style. Choro is a kind of a 19th century, fast-paced, rather happy styled music. It allows plenty of improv as well, and I think the album's title indicates that Falcon maybe is still getting to grips with this style. I mean, he's very good at it, but, you know, he's working at it, shall we say. And it's rather impressive, nevertheless. There are 14 compositions here. Next up, we have a band called Cos from the reissue label in Spain called Wah-Wah. If you have any interest in krautrock and sort of interesting 70s, late 60s rock output, also some folk, Wah-Wah is one of the best labels in the world and largely undiscovered. It's rather a secret label, you might say. But check them out in Spain. I'll put a link below. You can have a little gander. Anyway, this is from Wah-Wah. This is Cos, and it's on vinyl. We've moved on to vinyl, folks. Now, some people call this band Cos. I think it's Cos. I've heard a band member describe the band as Cos, so I'm sticking with Cos. This was a jazz outfit, but not just jazz. Now, there's prog definitely in here, and some people say, oh yeah, it's of the Canterbury style, but I'm not sure I agree with that. Anyway, they released albums, did Cos, during the 70s through to the very early 80s. I think they released 5 albums, and I have 3 here to show you. Now, the band had an outsider, slightly avant-garde reputation. Well, they toured with the Zool, as I pronounce it, Zool band Magma, so that might give you an indication of the sort of music you're going to be hearing here. So yeah, expect Cos to follow that prog Zool style. Even so, it's fascinating stuff. Now, I have 3 LPs here. They all appear in this outer plastic bag with a big sticker. Now, I will take that this is Babel, and I will keep Babel in its bag, as it were. I'll take the other two out, and you can see the other two albums in their naked glory. Talking specifics now, we have the 1974 LP Post-Aeolian Train Robbery, and there's a title for you. This one reminds me a little of Frank Zappa. Some more Zappa than Canterbury, I would say. It's rather adventurous and searching in its jazz-inflected rock. And as you can see, it arrives in a gatefold, and there's some nice extra inserts in there too, which is much appreciated, I might say. You've got booklets, and you've also got a poster. Very nice. Viva Boma is from 1976, and it continues that Zappa-esque adventure. The jazz rock is innovative and exploratory, but of the three albums here, I hear more variation and texture on this particular LP. I like this one. And finally, we have Babel from 1978, and this one offers an intriguing combination of harder jazz rock, but also a little bit of funky disco soul in there somewhere. These albums mix instrumental pieces with male and female vocals, but there's no lyrics here. Vocals, that is, that are almost instruments in and of themselves. So this is experimental jazz rock prog. If you like a bit of a challenge, if you like a bit of experimentation, check out Cos. Next we have a new release, or rather a reissue of an original release called Stop Making Sense on the Sire label. Now this double album, it features the audio from the 1984 Talking Heads concert film Stop Making Sense. The film was it was a kind of retrospective of the band, and now the thought of looking back at Talking Heads' output in 1984 is vaguely alarming, I have to say. Not everything here is purely Talking Heads though. So for example, the track Genius of Love. This is a Tom Tom Club by Weymouth and Franz. Well, that's on here. There are two David Byrne solo tracks, Big Business and What a Day That Was, for example. The 1981 album, The Catherine Wheel, I think that's from. They're here. Now, speaking of David Byrne, he always thought that the presentation of this particular album was a good one. He liked this particular album, mainly because the band were on top form. There was an immediacy there because they were performing in front of a live audience. Inside, you get a reproduction of the original booklet, but there's extra pages that have been added for this reissue. And last, but good grief, definitely not least, we have the Lexicon of Love box set from Mercury. You want luxury? I'll give you luxury. This is a 4 LP, 1 Blu-ray 40th anniversary box set of the iconic 1982 album. So 40 and a bit, hey. Mastered down in Abbey Road as a half-speed master. Contents? Well, you're basically getting the contents from the 2004 2-CD release. Well, nearly, at any rate. Most of it is in this collection. So that means the 12-inch singles, they're here, plus the B-sides and the demos. There's also a live performance, specifically the 1982 live concert from London's Hammersmith Odeon. There's also remastered audio and video on the Blu-ray disc, and that includes an Atmos mix via Stephen Wilson. The packaging is absolutely beautiful, arriving as it does in a hard-backed book, set within illustrated pages containing the vinyl itself and the Blu-ray. Each vinyl disc arrives in a basic inner, and next to it is a card inner, and on that card there's a host of liner notes. It's lovely stuff, no mistake. And that's it. Thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. If you can, somewhere down below, if you can click on the like and subscribe buttons, just helps this channel float swimmingly through the algorithm. If you would like to also check further down, I'll include some contact points for the items you've seen in this video. Also, in addition to that, there are my links to Patreon, and if you want to check out Hi-Fi News, etc., the latest episode is appearing this week, and there was one last week too. So that's exclusive to Patreon nowadays. Also, there are links to my Facebook group and my website and other social media platforms I lounge within. Anyway, I hope to see you on Sunday for another hi-fi review, and there is a pair of stand-mounted speakers I'll be looking at her French speakers. I'll be looking at on Sunday. Check them out, they're very interesting. I hope to see you then, hope to have your company. Until then folks, bye bye for now.